Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jewel Tolentino here. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what occupation I would be doing if I wasn't an entrepreneur. So I thought about this the other day because, I don't know, I was just sitting on the patio and it was really hot. We were going through a heat wave and I was just, randomly thinking to myself as I do. And I was asking myself the question, what would I be doing if I wasn't doing this? If I wasn't doing entrepreneurship and YouTube and online and Amazon and this and that, what would I be doing? And then I thought, hey, I'm going to create a video on this and share it with you guys. All right, so I thought about it. And if I was not an entrepreneur, I would be two things. And I will say the first one and then the second one. First one is I would be a WNBA player. That is a professional women's basketball player. Now, if you don't know, when I was younger, people who know this, who grew up around me, when I was younger up until high school, I lived and breathed basketball. I loved it so much. I loved 90s basketball, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Scottie Pippen, all those people, like all the players in the 90s I know. Now, like past maybe 2004 basketball, I don't really know the players at all now. But in the 90s, I for sure knew all the players. So I was totally obsessed with basketball and I would play every day with my sister. We had a homemade basketball hoop that my dad made. And at the time it was like 7 feet tall because that was like the highest he could make it. We're a very short family. And then we eventually bought a larger, full-size basketball net from Canadian Tire after we outgrew that one. So I would play every day. Every day I would play. I would always shoot free throws, play against my sister. My sister would always lose if we played one-on-one, but when we did like shootout, because we wouldn't have to do like physical contact, like, bumping into each other and stuff, then maybe she'd have a chance. But for the longest time, I would beat her so bad. And maybe that's why she's really good now. She's very good at shooting. It's probably because I guarded her so aggressively that she had to always take the shot. She could never do like a layup or get close to the net. And when I was growing up, I wanted to be this player in the WNBA, which is the women's league. And I was so obsessed with that I would literally play every day. And when I heard this fact about Michael Jordan, that he would shoot like 100 free throws in a row or something like that every day. That's why he was so good at shooting. Like free throws, man, whenever he did a free throw, it was always in. Like he never missed it. Very, very rare. So when I heard that fact, I started to try it out myself. Now I never got 100 in a row in, but I was pretty good. Here's a clip of me most recently the summertime on Instagram. So I was so obsessed to this one year in grade 5 because the next year was grade 6 and that's when, you could play for your school. Now this is elementary school. I'm like grade 5, so I'm like 10 or 11 years old maybe. Yeah, 10 or 11 years old. And next year I knew that I was going to be, playing for the elementary school and it was, my dream was going to be starting. So that year in grade 5, our teacher took down our height. So there was like a piece of paper and like a large piece of paper and everyone had to, draw a pencil and put their height of what they were in the beginning of the school year. And I said, I need to get really tall because basketball players are really tall and I was really short. So my method was to think about, growing tall and just at night, I read something that if you sleep like, really straight with your back and your spine, that it's easier for your body to grow. I don't know where I read that from. So me and my sister would try and sleep as straight as possible, not like hunch your back or anything. And I drank so much milk Like, I don't know how much glasses of milk I drank. I hate milk now. I can't drink actual milk anymore. I drink almond milk and non-dairy milks now, like cashew milk. But at the time, I drank a lot of 2% milk. And at the end of the school year in grade 5, I grew 10 centimeters. I grew the most in my class. There was another girl who was like way taller than me. She only grew like 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters. I grew 10 centimeters. I grew the most in that class. I think it was like the law of attraction. I didn't know it back then, but I wanted to be tall so bad that, I managed to get 10 centimeters. I don't think I've ever gone past that since that year. So that's what I would be if I wasn't an entrepreneur right now. That'd be my first choice, is a WNBA basketball player. Number 2. Now this one's not as strong a feeling as the basketball player one, but my second option would be a cook. Now I don't like baking, but I can cook savory meals. And I think that my desire to cook started to happen when I was younger, like around sort of the grade 4 or 5 time. I started to play around with cooking, like making Kraft dinner and just making spaghetti by myself, because my mom worked night shift. So she would leave for work at 7 p.m. and then come home at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m., and then she would drop us off to school. So, I would get hungry after dinner because we had dinner at like 4 or 5. And so like by, 8, 9, if I was still working on my homework, I would get hungry. And my dad, he worked really early, so he went to sleep when my mom left. So it was basically me and my sister was younger and she didn't want to cook. So I had to learn how to make Kraft dinner and all these sandwiches, very easy things. I was just experimented with whatever was in the house at the time. And then when I got to high school and I took cooking class and they taught me how to make actual things like chocolate chip cookies, stuffed potato skins, pizza, all different kinds of things. And that's when I sort of started to become obsessed with cooking. When I learned to cook stuffed potato skins, that's when it was a game changer for me, because that was like the first thing that I learned that was, much more complex than a box of Kraft dinner. Because you have to, get the potatoes, wash them, boil them, put them in the oven, have a whole bunch of ingredients. Like, that was my first real start at cooking, and I became obsessed. I made stuffed potato skins so many times, like every weekend, ever since I learned it, I would make them. And my parents and my family, my sister, they would always request them because they tasted so good. I also started making chocolate chip cookies. If you're from a Filipino family, your mom or your parents, they don't really do baked goods like chocolate chip cookies. They don't make that kind of stuff. So it was me that was making like the different kinds of cookies. So that's where my first love of cooking started to happen, was in cooking class in grade 8. Now I don't have any formal training or anything. I'm not like a professional. I just watch like Gordon Ramsay, people on TV, YouTube videos. And I just cook for myself, like leisure, because I want to, and I cook what I want. And sometimes when, I'm not doing YouTube or doing videos or doing whatever I'm doing as an entrepreneur, and I spend time to cook, I really find enjoyment in it. Like, that's another thing that I can do for hours where I won't get bored and I'll actually have fun and enjoy it. I've been doing a lot of meal prep lately. I want to become healthier. I don't want to eat out all the time. And I've been doing meal prep. And if you do meal prep, you gotta cook like a lot of food because you're cooking for the week. And I enjoy it. It's a lot of work. You get really tired and it'll be like 5 hours later and you're still going. But I enjoy it. So that's why that's the second choice that I would choose if I wasn't an entrepreneur, that I would be a chef. I would cook. Not really so much into the baking. I'm not that great at that. And I didn't really practice that as much as I did with like cooking savory foods. I make this crazy guacamole dip that my friend Phoebe really enjoys. You've seen her in the videos and the vlogs. She comes on the adventures. Every time we like meet up and we're going to do like a movie night, she requests me to make like an entire batch of that. And she could eat the whole thing. Like she'll take the leftovers of it, and it's like a huge amount. Like I make a lot of that dip, and she just like loves it. So those would be my 2 occupations if I was not an entrepreneur. First one would be a WNBA basketball player, and the second one would be a cook or a chef. Just wanted to share this with you guys. This was like a random thought that I had while I was sitting out in the patio, and it was like 30-degree heat, and if you're in Vancouver, like that's really hot here. We're not used to that, especially when you're sitting in like a gazebo that kind of encases the heat. It was almost like a sauna, and then this question popped into my head, and I said, that's a video idea. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Put in the comments section down below what you would be if you weren't your current occupation right now. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Back from the dead.